What's up, YouTube? This is Ultimate Shield 340 back at it again with another Destiny 2 video. So, the reason why I wanted to talk to you all today is to tell you a little bit about like mods, what kind of mods you should maybe look out for, and maybe think about putting those mods into your builds, just to sort of, you know, offset some of the shortcomings of your build, or if your build is not performing at the level that you want it to be. Maybe some of these suggestions I'm going to give to you maybe might help give you the edge that you need to bring that build to the level that you need it to be. So without further ado, here we go. First things first, I wanted to go ahead and say this is this is sort of you need a place to start, right? So for me, one of the challenges that I tried to go ahead and do for my own self was to see if there was a way that I could make the Behemoth class not have to rely on stasis shards by shattering stasis crystals. One of the biggest downsides of stasis crystals is that they are very obstructive. Um, and I agree with that. That's comes directly from a clan member, fellow YouTuber by the name of Sloth Moods. I definitely agree with that perspective. Where I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with the stasis crystals by themselves, but they can get in the way. There's been times where, like, say, um, I had made a stasis crystal and I shot like something, like maybe a grenade launcher or something that like killed me because I'm standing in front of it or whatever. So trying to get away from it. The reason why I bring this up is because during that process I tried to create a stasis build that did not utilize the crystals. I have since changed that build up until this point, but I wanted to talk about it just to sort of illustrate a point. So in this build, without having to rely on these stasis fragments, one of the key things that I needed to do was to how can I um, circumvent the issue where it's not this one. Where is it at? It's one of the stasis shards where it'll heal you and give you an overshield. Because of the oh, here it is, Whisper of Rhyme. So because of like how the build works, or what I was trying to do with the previous build, unfortunately I didn't get the benefit of this, so I could get an overshield. So, and not only just the overshield itself, but how can I, utilize how can I essentially mimic this fragment without actually using this fragment using my mods? And so, essentially, what I did was I actually went down to the boots, and then there was this particular mod right here, which is recuperation. Replenishes health every time you pick up an orb of power. Many of you probably already know and use this, but this is a pretty good mod for you to use to sort of circumvent that part of the healing aspect. But then also, if you come down here to your class abilities, there is an option here that is less utilized, which is called Healthy Finisher, where finishers will actually heal you. Now, again, I don't think this is going to revolutionize like the Destiny community or anything, but the reason why I bring this up is to sort of bring to your attention that maybe there is a way for you to compensate for, if there's something that you wanted to try and add to your build, but you were unable to do so for whatever reason. Maybe look to your mods to see if how you can compensate for that. So in that case of Whisper Rhyme, whenever you get a Stasis Crystal, you'll be able to heal yourself, but then also get the Overshield. So if you use the Healthy Recovery mod that I just showed you before, but then you also add this Healthy Finisher mod in addition to this mod, the Proximity Ward, where you'll gain an Overshield when performing a finisher. Essentially, these two mods in combination will go ahead and mimic the Whisper Rhyme fragment. The only downside to that is that as I've been testing this proximity ward here, it's not as good as I thought it would be. Part of the issue is that once you utilize the finisher, you are going to get a full overshield. However, it's going to fall off very quickly, which first and foremost sucks. But then two, it doesn't really give you, it's not as helpful as I thought it might have been, which is part of the reason why that build failed in and of itself. With that being said, Healthy Finisher actually is a very good um, mod to use uh, personally, because you actually do get a pretty good solid bit of healing, and as you can tell here, it only consumes one stack of armor charge, as opposed to say like three that you see like for this one, um, or three here. So this is a mod that I would maybe recommend to anybody who is looking to maybe do something to sort of compensate for parts of their build that didn't quite work out, and maybe you're looking for a way that you can use your mod to sort of um, overcome that hurdle. So in that way, I would just recommend that you look through each of these mods and definitely test each of these mods and see what you like for them, and just see, is this good? Is this bad? Does it work for me? Does it work? Does it not work for me? The reason why I say all these things and why it's very important that you test these builds is that even whenever I was starting my original channel, well, in my channel, this current one that I have here, I started off playing the Division, and my original question to those who were watching my videos was to ask the question of, you know, it, following the meta is fine, and that's cool, but like, are you adapting what you have available to you to adapt it to your personal playstyle? And this is what I mean by this. Like, are you looking at, what mods are available in Destiny 2 and testing these mods out to see, is this going to be, worth my build? Is this going to help me out? Is this not helping me out? And even if it's something like the meta, there's nothing wrong with using it if that's what works, if that's what works for you. But, this is the evolution of gameplay where I say maybe you might want to take what some of these mods do and what the meta does and then adapt it to your personal playstyle. Personally, for instance, this recuperation mod is actually really good. Another prime example of how you can use some mods to sort of circumvent some issues. Same thing that I had said before, the Whisper of Rhyme, where it is not going to allow you to heal due to the shards. Like if you're not being able to use the shards, you can use this mod to sort of overcome that. This mod is actually very good for that, in my personal opinion. And then, furthermore, this also would actually work in Strand, where, the downside to Woven Mail is that although you do get, I believe it's a 60% resilience buff that stacks on top of your resilience stat, which is actually pretty OP. The downside to that is that you're not regenerating health. So in that way, if you choose this mod in that build, not only are you going to have super high resilience, not only are you going to be able to stack it using your resilience and get the additional, you're going to get 30% from your resilience buff, or not buff, but your resilience stats, and then 40% from the woven mail itself. And then as you continue to kill people and pick up those orbs of power, then you'll also then be able to heal yourself and give yourself a whole bunch of sustain while you're out there, increase resistance, killing people, and doing all the wonderful things that you can do in your gameplay. So, I hope kind of what I'm saying makes sense. With that being said, I'm gonna recommend a few things for you to look out for, maybe for you to test in your own personal thing, in your builds and in your gameplay. I think Absolution is actually probably a pretty underutilized mod if you again can fit it in your build. I know passing up these surge mods, it's going to be painful, but if you're going to just say, for instance, use two kinetic surges and you don't, let's just say you're using all kinetic weapons, we'll say, or if the kinetic weapon is the primary and you don't really care about your energy weapon being buffed, maybe you might want to consider like Absolution, where say if you have a Hammer Titan where you are spamming, grenade or not grenades, but your melee energy, maybe you might want to think about this, which also then goes perfectly into this one as well. Maybe every time you pick up an orb of power, you pick up a melee. It reduces your melee cooldown, and if you're going to be, running around as a solar titan using your hammer, you're going to be creating lots of orbs of power using heavy-handed. And every time you pick it up, let's just say, because inevitably either you'll miss or throw your hammer off the cliff, then you'll have this mod to sort of fall back on to help you regenerate that melee ability very quickly. So I would say Absolution is probably look into this, test this out, see if it works for you. I would say this also is also very good to look into as well, depending on what you have going on. One of the first things that comes to mind is the Void. Warlock, where you get the, I think it's called Child of the Old Gods, which is one of the aspects that you have here. Anytime you use your class ability, you're going to create uh, that orb, I guess, that's going to drain people using this class ability. This insulation mod, you're going to get your class ability very quickly, in addition to any other mods you might stack with that. I think those are pretty good. I'm currently testing out this mod. I'm interested to see how this is going to be any different than the recuperation mod. But I'll kind of get back to you as well on that. So those are some mods I would look out for in testing your personal playstyle as well. I had already talked to you about there is the um, this one, Healthy Finisher. I think this is actually really good. Not only does it, only consume one stack, but you also get, that heal back very quickly. Just make sure that it doesn't overlap, other things, or it doesn't take the spot of something else that you are really looking for. With that being said, one thing I am going to tell you to avoid at all costs is this Bulwark Finisher. Finisher Final Blows Grand Overshield. Not only is it going to do 3 stacks of armor charge, but this doesn't actually work for very long, and I think I might have confused that with this one. So my apologies. This one, I think it was fine. I can't remember exactly, but I can tell you 100% avoid this one at all costs. This one is terrible. Again, the cost for it is very high, 3 stacks of armor charge, but then also the overshield doesn't last for very long at all. So something to think about. So, those are a few things I wanted to talk to you about. Again, I know this isn't going to be a revolutionary thing to talk about in Destiny 2 or the Destiny community, but, I think this is a conversation that I think that we need to have where, maybe you might think about branching out of what is considered the meta and maybe pick something that might work, that specifically works for your personal playstyle. So, just a few thoughts. But that's all I got for right now. This is Ultimate Shield 340 signing off, and I'll see you in Destiny 2. Peace.